Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Tickets Towards Success podcast. I'm your host, Tucker Nanakova, and want to thank you for joining me today. Here on the Tickets Towards Success podcast, we talk about health, fitness, finance, and the personal mindset needed to thrive in all areas of life. Today, we have a good episode for episode 16, and we're going to be breaking down a topic that I think will benefit a lot of people and give a lot of tips and insights for people that may be looking to build their own workout routine from scratch. That's what we're going to be discussing. So whether you're a beginner or you're someone who's tried a few programs but never really stuck to them, this episode will be your blueprint on how to build your own workout programs that work for your life and that are effective. And the truth is that most people overcomplicate fitness and they try to copy everything. They try to add too much at once. And there isn't ever a proper why behind what sometimes they may be doing. But when you build a plan that is around goals, your schedule, and your lifestyle, that's when you start to see the results that you want. So what you can expect in today's episode is the 5 key steps to building a workout routine from scratch, the difference between training and just working out. And then I'm going to share my personal approach to structuring workouts that I have done over the years. A lot has changed. I've been building my own workouts for the past 4 or 5 years. We're going to talk about some common mistakes that people make when starting out. And then I'm going to give a few tips for staying consistent and adjusting as your life grows and being able to adapt as your life changes. And just as a quick reminder, if you do enjoy this episode today, please be sure to subscribe, leave a review down below, and let me know what you thought of the episode. Let me know what you would like to see in the future. If there's anything that you may be curious about in the health, fitness, or finance and personal development space, I would love to know. And please share it with someone that you think that may benefit from these insights. My goal is to reach as many people as possible in 2025. So thank you in advance for doing that. And with that being said, let's jump into today's episode and part 1, and that is knowing your why. The biggest thing about knowing your why is that your goals define your plan, your workout plan. So before we even talk about different workouts that you can do, all the sets, all the reps, routines, we have to start with a why. We have to start with purpose. What do you specifically want to achieve? What do you want to get out of going to the gym, doing cardio? Is it weight loss? Do you want to build muscle? Do you want to run a marathon? Do you want to build endurance? Or do you just want to have more energy throughout your day? If you can understand your goal, it helps you choose the right training style. For example, if you want to gain muscle, you're probably going to want to focus on some progressive overload and resistance training as well as strength training. If you're trying to lose body fat, you're probably going to want to combine strength training with some kind of sustainable cardio. And obviously, you're going to want to have a strong nutrition plan. If you're looking for like longevity or just an increase of boost in energy in your day-to-day life, probably going to want to just prioritize consistency, mobility, and low stress movement. If you're looking to build endurance, you're going to want to focus on cross training, strength training, and cardio in the forms of biking or running, sprints, those kinds of things. So we want to know our why so we're not falling for trends every single time. There's always new trends that are coming out, whether that be on social media, whether that be you hear from your friends or you hear from your family. There's always new trends, especially in the fitness space. But if we have a proper why set, we know that from doing research and gaining knowledge, that if we follow this plan that we built out and we follow our why and we know our why, we're going to be able to accomplish that goal that we have. So while we must know our why for our training style, we also need to know our why to help us determine our nutritional goals as well. Nutrition is a big part, 80-20, 80% nutrition, 20% when it comes to working out. I will always recommend whole foods or animal-based. I made an episode on longevity. Can't remember exactly what episode it was, but I'd encourage you to go listen to that, where we discuss dieting, we discuss different kinds of ways to eat and the benefits of eating whole foods and the side effects of eating processed foods. We're not going to dive a lot into nutrition today, so I'd highly encourage you to go check out that episode. But that is a huge thing that to tie in to your why. Make sure you're tying your nutrition goals into your why as well. Now, when it comes to choosing your different training style, so we have our why, we know the goal that we want to achieve. Now it's time to pick what kind of training style we want to do. And understand that different goals require different methods. So when we break these down, the most common training styles and kind of what they're good for. The first one is just going to be body weight workouts and calisthenics, which is really, really good for beginners. It helps build a lot of joint strength and stability. And the best part is there's no equipment needed. You can do this anytime, any place, anywhere. You can do it at home. You can do it at a gym. You can do it on vacation. It doesn't matter. You can do these anywhere. So that's a really good one for beginners, especially if you don't have a lot of experience with working out and you kind of just want to start getting into a routine and getting into a groove. You can start there. Now, are you going to see a ton of benefits from it in terms of losing a lot of body fat or in terms of getting really strong and building a lot of muscle? Probably not, but this can be a good starting point for those beginners, like I said, that are trying to just get and build their routine. The second training style could be just strength training, which can be you can use machines or you can use free weights. It doesn't really matter. You can use a combination of both. I think that's always really good. It's best for building muscle and body composition changes. It's very trackable and it's adjustable in terms of tracking the weights that you do every single week and the reps and the sets. You're able to do that. So that is the second most common one that a lot of people progress from doing just body weight stuff. The third one is going to be your circuit training or your HIIT training, which is high intensity interval training. It's very time efficient. It's really good for just general conditioning. It's good for cardiovascular health as well. I mix a little bit, I just started mixing this into my workout program, and I absolutely love doing it. Yes, it sucks. Yes, it can be hard, but it's super, super good for just our health and our cardiovascular health. And I think mixing that in just gives you something different to do. And you're really hitting on all points when you're mixing a few things in. And we'll talk about that a little bit later about when you can start mixing in different forms of training. Obviously, if you're a beginner and you're just trying to get into the gym and trying to build that consistency, you're probably not going to be mixing a lot. But circuit and high intensity interval training is really, really good for you. The fourth most common one, or the fourth different training style, would be just your cardio, so your cardiovascular training, running, biking, rowing, skiing. You can do sprints, anything of that sort. It's really great for heart health, fat loss, and endurance. And you get to work your heart rate zones from zone 2 to zone 5, just depending on what you're doing. So very good for you. The fifth one would be just mobility and flexibility work in the form of yoga. You can do dynamic stretching as well. If you don't know what dynamic stretching is, it's basically stretches that are also movements. So instead of it being just a laying down or a standing knee to chest stretch, you're actually walking as you're doing that and doing those forms of stretches. And this is really often overlooked Personally, I probably overlook this a little bit. I try to do it as much as I can, and especially in my warm-ups or, well, definitely before I run, but I've been starting to do it a little bit more before I even lift, just to get my body moving a little bit. And it's very overlooked, but it's really critical for our longevity and injury prevention. You want to make sure you're warming your body up a little bit before you actually go into any form of workout. That way you're not getting hurt. It'll also help with your performance when it comes to trying to accomplish personal records in terms of weight, in terms of reps, and in terms of sets. So the biggest thing out of these 5, you really want to, if you're a beginner, stick with one, really start to understand the fitness space, understand how your body works and what you like, but you want to stick to 1 to 2 main training styles to really focus on. You don't want to try and do everything at once. You definitely don't want to really ever do all 5, I would say, but I would stick to picking 1 to 2 max, especially if you're a beginner. Now, what I do is I do strength training, I do circuit training, and cardiovascular training. You can count mobility and flexibility work. I try to do some yoga and stretching every now and then. Obviously, stretching, yes, it's very important, but I wouldn't really count that as necessarily a different training style. I think it's just important to put into the podcast because you should always be doing it. It's not like a lot of stress on your body anyways, so it's not necessarily like another training style where you have to make more time to do that. It's something that you can do for 5 to 10 minutes before you actually work out or after you work out. So stick to 1 to 2. Now, when it comes to building out a blueprint for your day-to-day, your weekly training, your monthly training, you have to have structure. Structure builds consistency. The best way to start, and we'll talk about beginners first, is 3 to 4 days a week. You can really, that's all you need. 3 to 4 days, 30 minutes, that's all you got to do. That's how you got to start building consistency. So for example, day 1, keep in mind, these can all fit around your schedule during the week. So don't take day 1 as Monday. Day 1 could be Saturday. Day 2 could be Sunday. So just make sure that it's going with your schedule and how you want to operate it. So day 1, you could do full body strength training. Day 2, you could do light cardio / mobility. Day 3, you could do full body strength training. And day 4, you could do cardio or a circuit workout / cross training. So that would be just a good way to start. And what else you could actually do is if you wanted to break it down, let's say that you wanted to start on a Monday. So day 1 is Monday, day 2 is Tuesday, day 3 is Wednesday. Say you're feeling sore, you probably want to take a rest day on Thursday, and now day 4 would actually be Friday. So therefore you're getting kind of a rest period in there, and that's what I would definitely recommend. That way you're just not overworking your body 4 days in a row, and then for 3 days, you're not doing anything. So 4 to 5 days a week for people that have a better concept of working out and maybe have done it in the past. Maybe they did it when they were going to school. Maybe they tried it a little bit, and maybe they're just kind of looking to take that next step. So day 1 would be upper body. Day 2, lower body. Day 3, mobility and active recovery. Day 4, upper body. Day 5, lower body or conditioning. Rest days are super important. Make sure you're not going over 3 days in a row of working out. Take a rest day after that 3rd day, but make sure that you're still moving your body. Like I said, don't be that person that just sits on the couch during rest day. That's not what you want. A great way to make sure that you're moving your body is to set a daily steps goal. My daily goal, personally, is 10,000 steps per day. This can really be whatever you like, but I'd like to see it between 8,000 and 10,000 minimum. That way you're just moving your body and you're not getting tight, your muscles aren't getting tight, and you're making sure that you're getting some blood flow through your muscles. This is going to help you recover a lot. This is going to help you stay active and burn more calories even on your rest days, especially if your goal is to drop some weight or burn some fat. So make sure that you're having a step goal in there on those rest days. And honestly, you should probably just be trying to hit 8,000 to 10,000 steps per day, even on the days that you train. But if you can't do that for some reason, make sure on those rest days that you're getting those 10,000 steps. Another great tip is to just start small and then add volume. You're going to go into the gym and there's going to be people that have been going to the gym for 5, 10, 15 years maybe. And you're going to feel like, they're doing so much more than me. Like, why can't I do that? And you're going to want to try and ego lift a little bit. Don't do that. That's going to cause injuries. That's going to cause you to not want to go back, and it's going to break your structure. Start small and add your volume as you go, as you get stronger, as you get more comfortable in the gym with the certain workouts that you're doing. And then you will eventually get to that point. And I'll tell you, it really doesn't take that long to get into a gym routine, to get into feeling stronger. I would give it 2-3 months, and then you're going to be on your way and you're going to have your own goals that you want to hit, and you're going to be just fine. So prioritize compound movements as well: squats, deadlifts, pull-ups, presses, in terms of shoulder presses or any forms of presses, I suppose. But make sure on your squats and your deadlifts and your bench presses, make sure that you're not doing them incorrectly. Make sure you're having proper form. This just happened to me about 7-8 months ago, where I deadlifted with improper form, and now I've been dealing with a herniated disc in my lower back because of it. And now, after seeing a specialist about it, I probably won't ever be able to do more than 225 pounds when it comes to squatting or deadlifting, just because I've hurt my back so many times, which I'm okay with. I'm not upset about that as long as I can still do those movements. But just be cautious when you're doing these big compound movements that you're starting small, just like we just talked about on the last bullet. You're starting small on these, and you're really getting your mobility down in them. You're getting your form down, and you will progressively add weight as you go. Proper form is essential. Obviously, these plans change as you set goals for competitions, as you set goals in your life, when you start to venture off into something new, or if you're focusing on certain areas of fitness, whether that be strength, endurance, or just overall health. These plans will change over time, and that is okay. If you start as a beginner, you've never been in the gym, you get in the gym, you start doing a few things, and then 2 years out, you're like, I need a change, I need to do something else, I want to go into this. That's fine, because you have that knowledge of fitness. You worked at this and you got really good at this. Now it's time to grow and venture off into something else. So that is okay. And you're going to find what works for you, what works best for your body, and what types of workouts that you really enjoy. And that's really when it's going to bring out a lifestyle with it, because you're going to need to go and do that every day or every 3 days to have a good day, or that's just going to be part of your life. You're going to want to do it more, and you're going to need to do it more. And the best plan is the one that we actually stick to. So you're just going to have to figure out what works best for you. I know people that hit each muscle group twice a week, 5 days a week. I know people that work out for 40 minutes, 3 days a week, that are absolutely shredded. So it just depends on what works for you. Just modify it and try different things as you go, and you will figure that out. I'm going to talk a little bit about how I've structured my own workouts over the past year or the past few years. Experimentation leads to mastery. I just ended with that, or something similar to that in the last part. You have to experiment with different forms of workouts, different forms of training to figure out what you like. And that is exactly what I have done the past 3 years. But I've been building my own workout programs probably the past 5 years. And we're going to walk through just a few phases that I've gone through in my own fitness journey. Like I said, I've been making my own workouts since my freshman year of college. Well, it was 5 years ago, maybe 6, I guess. Has it really been 6 years? Yeah, it's 2025. That is crazy. But yeah, so I guess 6 years. And that's a few exceptions though. I did follow Nick Bare's hybrid athlete program right when I got into hybrid athlete training. Well, I guess it was after. So I built my first hybrid athlete program by myself, figured out I didn't do a good job at that, right? I guess you got to fail to learn, you got to fail to grow. So I failed at that. And then I started following his, and now I build out my own based off what I like. I took some stuff from his, took some stuff from the past, took some stuff from some other people, and now I built out my own. And I also followed his half marathon and marathon training program when I was training for those races. But those were just a few of the exceptions because I didn't really know in terms of volume for running. Now, the early days of my fitness journey, I was very involved in sports throughout high school and for 2 years of college. And that just consisted of mainly lifting and conditioning and then going to practice and doing whatever conditioning type stuff was there. I really wasn't focused on nutrition or anything specific, especially in high school. I didn't really get into nutrition until my freshman year of college, but it still wasn't the best. I still wasn't doing enough research or really counting calories correctly. Then I was just trying to eat better and eat more volumes of food to put on weight and muscle. Now in high school, I didn't focus on nutrition at all, but luckily I had parents that actually we ate fairly healthy, I guess, in terms of what I knew back then. So that was always good. I always felt like I was getting at least quite a bit of nutrients, even though it wasn't even close to what I do now. But that's kind of how my early days were. I, involved in a lot of sports and just doing kind of what they told me in terms of programs and structures. Now, when I got to college and I wasn't in sports, this is when I started going to the gym on my own and not really having someone else there, like a coach, to give me a certain program. And I was just going to the gym because I knew it was healthy and I knew it was important. Didn't really have a structure. I kind of just went there and I would do, chest one day or chest and arms, and then back and bis, legs, day off, and then arms on Fridays. And that's what I would do 4 days a week. And that was really it. No cardio, besides maybe walking on a treadmill to warm up or riding on the bike for 5 minutes to warm up. That was basically it. And then I kind of moved into a push-pull leg split after that. Kind of learned a little bit more about that and started to dive into some research of fitness. And then I started training 5 days a week with progressive overload and trying to gain some muscle there. Still no nutrition really focus, just eating a lot at the dining halls or a lot of volume in terms of food to try and gain some weight and gain some muscle. That's always been something with me when I've tried to gain weight and muscle. I have a really good metabolism, so I've never really been able to do it. And it's kind of funny because I want to do that forever, but now I don't even care about any of that. I just like to be lean and I like to build muscle slowly while still being lean. Okay, still in that mid phase, I tracked everything from calories to reps and to weight. I started really cracking down on my calories, cracking down on my my reps and switching that every so often. I think I do like 4 weeks at 10 to 12 reps, and I do 4 weeks at 6 to 8 reps and really mix it up there. In terms of weight, I started to track what I would do on every single workout. And while that was super stressful and just kind of annoying, it did help. And now I just have a good baseline of what I'm trying to do. Obviously, the way I train now compared to then is just completely different. And it's kind of crazy that it's changed that much. But at the end of that mid phase, I experienced burnout really bad from training 5 days a week with progressive overload. I was training all muscle groups twice a week, and just from tracking, and I was getting bigger. I was gaining quite a bit of muscle, but it was just taxing. And I didn't enjoy going to the gym and just working out. Started to get that burnout, started to get a little bit bored. And that's when I really started to feel like I was missing training like an athlete. And I moved into my running phase. I found hybrid athlete training. I gave it a shot and I fell in love with it. I just remember coming home from the gym one night. I was like, I wish that I could go back to the training that we did when I was in high school and in college sports, because I missed training like an athlete, that explosiveness, the cardiovascular endurance metrics, the strength training, and just the overall function of your body, your mobility, and just the way that athletes are able to do all different sorts of training. I really missed that. So I found that hybrid athlete training and I found my sweet spot. That's exactly where I was meant to be. That's exactly where I want to be, is some way or form in a hybrid athlete training program, whether that's just lifting and running, whether that's lifting, biking, and cross training like I'm doing now, whether that's lifting, running, cross training, and biking, or any mixture of those. I'm just glad that I'm able to do those things based off the way that I train, because I can go into anything and I can train. I could do a strength training competition. I could do a running competition. I could do a biking competition. I could do an Ironman. I could do high rocks. I bet you, yes, I would have to train for these, obviously, but my body would be able to adapt to it fairly quickly. I could do a CrossFit event. I guarantee it. I'd have to work on Olympic lifting, but I guarantee if I trained long enough to do that event and I could hit the weights that are at these CrossFit events, I would be fine. Now, am I going to do that? Probably not, but I do have some friends that are big into CrossFit, so it may be in the near future where I try it out just to make them happy, but we'll see about that. In my running phase, I wasn't necessarily training for competitions. I was really just running 3 days a week and lifting 3 days a week and starting to learn about the hybrid athlete training program. All right, let's jump to now. Right now, this current moment, and probably the past 2 years, let's just count it 2 years to now. I've been looking to compete. That's the biggest one. Looking to compete in endurance events, specifically that being running. I've ran 3 5Ks in the past 2 years, which I know doesn't seem like a lot, but I kind of have some weird way that my races work. I'll talk about that in a sec, but I've done 3 5Ks. I was really just going for PRs and all those. I ran one just to get my baseline, and then I missed a PR. I actually ran slower than my baseline, and then I hit a PR. And then I wanted to do some longer events, so I did a half marathon. Then I signed up for my full marathon. I had to drop out of that one, but we will be doing that towards the end of 2025 this year. And I really started to mix things based off my goals, whether that was marathon, strength, or recovery even. And the way that I do my races is I'll do a training block, depending on how long the race is, before the race. And then after, I take a little bit of time off. I don't really jump into the next thing. Take a little bit of time off to do some of the hobbies that I like. And when I mean time off, I'm still running, I'm still lifting, but I'm not I'm not training. I'm not in a prep for anything. I'm not in a training block for anything. I'm kind of just keeping that fitness built up while not having the stress of being in a training block. Now, that may change because I really am looking to compete over the next 5 years for sure when it comes to hitting PRs and doing different kinds of events. Definitely want to do my marathon. I think 2026 will be a big year for me. I would like to go for a couple more marathons in 2026 and also run a couple half marathons in those marathon preps to try and get some PRs out of those. May even go back to a 5K. I would love to do a Hyrox event. And who else knows? I probably won't do any strength training events or anything like that just because I don't really have a passion to go after that right now. I think an Ironman could be in the future for me, even though I'm scared death to do the swimming part. I think that just because of that reason, I have to do it. So that will be probably in the next 5 years will be something that I'll be looking at trying to do. But obviously I'm getting way ahead of myself here because I just want to focus on running my first marathon and getting that accomplished and then starting to go for PRs in different events and just learn more about endurance. I have a long ways to go when it comes to learning about endurance. So I'm very excited to start to learn about that. Now, still, my marathon training was 5 runs a week and 2 full body strength days. That's the way that I structured it. The reason I knocked it down to 2 full body strength days is because it just fit my schedule well. And a lot of people will say when you go into a marathon training block, I've heard Nick Bare say this, I've heard a few other athletes say this, that they bring down the intensity of their strength training to make up for the intensity or to put their focus and their intensity into the running, obviously, because that's the goal that they're training for. Now, since I cut it down to just 2 full body strength days, I did keep the intensity fairly high. I would say that I turned it down a little bit, but I did keep it fairly high since I was only strength training twice a week. So that's how I structured my marathon training, and that's what I was doing before I dropped out. Now, with my injury, what am I currently doing? I'm doing 2 full body strength days. Obviously, I'm keeping my injury in mind for each of these workouts. So when I'm doing my full body, say it's a legs, back, and core focus day, I am not squatting. I'm not deadlifting. I'm not doing any of those. I'm doing a lot of machine work for legs. And then I get a lot of leg work in my cross training as well. But I'm trying to keep as much stress off that lower back right now as I can until I get into PT and then start to strengthen it and see how that goes. So we're doing 2 full body strength days, 3 biking days for endurance. We're doing 1 60-minute bike, 2 30-minute bikes. And then we're doing 1 day of circuit work / Hyrox work, mostly for building the anaerobic endurance, for building anaerobic endurance. So an example of this would be one that I just did 2 weeks ago for cross training or for the circuit work / Hyrox. Now, this isn't a Hyrox one. This is more so circuit. So I did a 40-minute EMOM, which is a 40-minute every minute on the minute. So the first minute was 12 calorie bike, or excuse me. The first one was 12 calorie row, and then 15 calorie bike, 12 V-ups, and a 25-yard sled push. So that's just an example of what I'm doing for some of my circuit work. Now, this one is very tough. This one actually made me throw up. So obviously I have a lot of work to do in this area in terms of circuit training and in terms of cardiovascular training. So I'm very excited to have this circuit training. I do them on Saturday morning since I'm not doing my long runs anymore right now. And I've really, really enjoyed doing this. Now, when I go back into marathon prep, I will take the circuit work out just because it's very high intensity and it's a lot of volume. But Other than that, I have 3 of the EMOMs programs right now. I have 3 AMRAPs, which is as many rounds as possible, and you can do like 30 minutes or you can do 40 minutes. And then I also have 3 HYROX workouts that I kind of just pick what one I want to do every single Saturday, and I really do enjoy that. Now, obviously, my routine is not perfect, and no one's routine is perfect, especially from day one. Trial and error is the secret weapon when it comes to building workout programs, when it comes to building fitness. So just go out there and try something. Try something that you're interested in. Now, you probably won't be able to jump into it and be really good at it at first, but you're going to learn and you're going to grow and you're going to get it down and you're going to get good at it as long as you have consistency, as long as you have discipline, you'll be just fine. So just try some things, see what you're interested in, and take off with that. And see where that takes you, see where that leads you. And it'll probably lead you into something else, and then maybe something else. And then you'll have this bucket full of knowledge of fitness from doing all these things through trial and error. Now, there are a few common mistakes that we want to avoid when we're A, working out, and B, building a workout plan from scratch. The first one is going to be doing too much too soon. This leads to burnout or injury. Stick with those 1 to 2 structures. The second one would be skipping warm-ups and mobility. Obviously, I talked about this. Sometimes this gets the best of me, but it increases long-term risk of injuries. And it's going to kill your gains and your PRs, and you're not going to be as recovered as you should be. You're going to struggle with being more sore all the time. Number 3, copying influencers. What I mean by copying influencers is not, yes, you should watch them, certain ones, I would say the good ones that actually are good role models for fitness. You can see what they're doing and how they're doing it and learn from them and hear what they're saying and get that knowledge. But you don't want to really copy their goals, like their specific goals. You don't want to copy their routines necessarily, because everyone is different. Everyone should have a different routine. Everyone should do what works best for them in their life at that moment. And like I said, that will always change as your life progresses. But just try not to copy them, and because that's basically you saying, I just really want to be like them, so I'm going to do every single thing that they do to get exactly like them. Don't try and be like them. Be yourself, but take some of the knowledge that they have from the accomplishments that they've made and use that in your own life to accomplish your goals and your dreams. So number 4 would be changing your plan too often. Stick to a plan and finish it, really. Focus on one thing at a time. Don't change it just based off what everyone else may be doing. For example, if you're just getting into fitness, what is really big right now is HYROX. HYROX is taking off. If you don't know what HYROX is, it's HYROX. It is basically everything CrossFit is besides Olympic lifting. There's no Olympic lifting. It's all machine work. You do a run and then you do a station, then you do a run, then station, run, then station. Can't even remember how many different stations there are, but they vary from ski, row, lunges, burpee broad jumps. It can be switched up. But that's really popular right now and it's taking off really fast. But if you really want to get into strength training and you've never done that before, don't just don't say to yourself, I should just do HYROX because that's what everyone else is doing and that's really popular right now. if you really want to get stronger and you want to get some more knowledge and experience with weight training, go into weight training, even if it's not the most popular thing right now. That's always a great baseline to have is strength training, because it's something that you can always come back to. And there's just a feeling that you get from strength training when you're pushing some iron around, you're throwing some weights around in the gym. There's no better feeling than that. So that's just a great baseline. But that's an example of just don't try and change your stuff up too often. Focus on your goals that you have set, focus on your why, and do that until you've accomplished it. Number 5 is ignoring recovery and sleep. This has been a big one for me. A big mistake that I've made in the past is doing this. I've really started to take action when it comes to my sleep. Now, I get about 6.5 hours of sleep, which I wish I could do 8.5. But the way my life is right now, 6 to 6.5 is what it has to be. So what I've been focusing on is getting better quality sleep. I got Garmin watch. I upgraded from the Apple just because I think it gives me better metrics on my sleep and my recovery. And I've started to wear my watch at night to track my deep sleep and my REM sleep. So I'm trying to get better quality sleep in terms of deep sleep and REM sleep to help my body recover in 6.5 hours so I can not sleep as long and still get the same amount of recovery. Now, I do try to sleep in on Sundays and just get some extra sleep or take a nap on the weekends if I can. But that's what I'm doing. I've also started to really implement my magnesium at night, as well as tart cherry juice always, just to kind of help my body relax and fall into a deeper sleep when I'm going to bed for those 6.5 hours. Now, recovery in terms of mobility and stretching, I'm trying to do that as much as I can, and foam rolling and Theragun work. But yeah, it's super important. Don't ignore it. And it's basically how our muscles grow. It's how we get stronger is when we're sleeping and when we're recovering, especially in deep sleep. Deep sleep is actually where our body recovers. That's why it's so important to get a lot of deep sleep. Getting as much as you can is probably the most beneficial, but it's always recommended to have at least 1.5 to 2.5 hours of deep sleep per night. So if you're into fitness right now and you don't know what kind of sleep you're getting, but you don't feel like you're recovering the best, I would suggest getting something that can track your sleep and see how much deep sleep you're getting. REM sleep is also important for recovery. So with these mistakes, keep in mind to just keep it simple and keep it sustainable. Focus on not making these mistakes and having your why and having a structure that fits your lifestyle. You'll be just fine. But the most important thing is to stay consistent. It's better to be consistently good instead of occasionally great. I learned that from Nick Bare. He's been saying that for a long time. And it's truly a saying and a quote that has changed my life. It's so powerful because it's so true. Anyone that has accomplished anything, anyone that has gotten anywhere with their lives has been consistently good. They've never been occasionally great. Because when it comes to fitness, a good plan is only effective if you stick to it. The way to keep showing up is you can put it on your calendar, just like any other important appointment that you would make. On my calendar, I have it structured out to what times I believe that I'll be at the gym. That way it's just on my calendar. Also, when I write my task list for the next day, I write in blue marker, in blue pen, that I have this said workout tomorrow, and that's what I have to do. Another way to stay consistent is you can track your progress, but focus on building systems for your fitness. Don't focus on the daily ups and downs. There's going to be so many days where you don't want to go to the gym. There's going to be so many days that you don't want to go for a run. There's going to be so many days that you don't want to go hit a 40-minute EMOM and sweat your balls off and have your heart rate at 170 plus the whole time. But build a system that requires you to go and do it. Build a system in your mind, build a system in your environment that will require you to be there and to show up and to be consistent. And you know, at the end of the day, that you will feel 1,000 times better if you go and do it. Now, this is easier said than done. I struggle with this, not a lot, but I have my days, for sure. I have my days. A great thing that you can also do is you can join a friend, maybe at a gym. Maybe they go to the gym and you want to go to their gym. You can join a class, or you can get a coach for accountability. There's coaches that range from on the cheaper side to the more expensive side. If that's something that you're interested in, just make sure that you're going with a coach that understands your why and what you're trying to accomplish through your fitness goals, because you're going to get a lot more out of that. Make sure you celebrate small wins. First time that you bench 135, first time that you squat 225, first time that you hit a certain PR, first time that you go for a run. Celebrate those small wins and be happy for yourself and be glad that you did what you said you're going to do. Adjust your plan based on how your life evolves and changes. We've talked about this and touched on this quite a bit. It's going to change, it's going to evolve, and your fitness and your workout program should too, which is just fine. Just find a way to get it in. Believe in yourself. Never stop believing in yourself. You can do it. You can do anything. If you are 350 pounds right now and you want to get down to 225, you can do it. Trust me. It's going to be a lot of hard work. It's going to be tough. There's going to be good days and bad days, but you can do it. You can do it through any kind of structure, any kind of workout program. Make sure that you're learning about nutrition. Make sure that you are taking in all the knowledge about fitness, about working out, and you will get there. It'll take some time, but you will get there and you'll be proud of that person that you became. Always, always believe in yourself. There's a lot of people that struggle with self-belief. They limit themselves to what they can do in their life and who they can be and what they can accomplish. Don't be one of those people. You can do it. Believe in yourself. Last one here, to stay consistent. Have that proper why. Know why you're doing said things. And just keep putting one foot in front of the other and don't look back. And that is it for today's episode of the Tickets Towards Success podcast. I want to thank you so much for joining me today on episode 16. I thought it was a great episode. I hope I was able to bring some value to some of you that are listening when it comes to structuring your workout programs for beginners or intermediates, the different things that you can do and the things that we need to remember. If this resonated with you, if you like this episode, let me know and leave a comment down below. And if you're up for it, share it with someone that may also benefit from these insights and that may enjoy my content as well. Be sure to follow me on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram for more content like this. Tickets Towards Success is on Instagram and TikTok, and you can follow at Real Tucker N on TikTok and Instagram as well, where I post bonus content where it comes to health, fitness, and personal development. Don't forget, I do post new episodes every single Monday, Next Monday, we're going to talk about the mental side of fitness. So we're going to switch it up from building workout programs to the mental side of fitness and how it can actually make or break your fitness journey. So if you listen today, I would encourage you to listen to the one next week when that comes out on Monday to get a overall sense and bucket of knowledge when it comes to fitness. So turn on those notifications so you never miss an episode, or just download my podcast. That way you are always getting continuous updates. And please remember that we all have limited time. I can't stress that enough. So work hard, be healthy, and keep collecting tickets so you can find your purpose and become your best self. I will see you in the next episode. Happy Easter, and thank you so much for tuning in today.